you touched on earlier when you used to listen to things on the radio that were like detective shows, and how the music in the
They're serving the script. They
yeah.
were serving the script.
So did you work with Hanna-Barbera when you were writing and recording songs for Hanna-Barbera? Kind of play into that because of the
No.
working?
No. So here's what happens. Kim calls me and he says, Danny, Hanna-Barbera is they're starting a rock and roll division. And I think you'd fit in perfectly. Why don't you go over and see them? So I went over there with my guitar and uh, Howie, I forget his name. I'm so bad with names. And the guy gave me a script, and he just looked at me and he said, "Okay, here are the lyrics. I'll give you a half hour. Go in the other room and write this melody to this." So I went in the other room and I came back in a half hour and I heard it and went, "All right, you're hired." And so I was like, I was a young Turk that knew what was going on in town. You know, I researched everybody. Uh, so I was a quote producer. That's what I was, a writer producer. I was
Okay.
not an artist at all. But then I started doing records where I'd play all the parts. I couldn't really play drums that well, but I'd get a leather seat and I would just whack. Wow. And I've got a pretty good drum sound for what it was. And then if it was a guitar part, I would, and the songs I wrote, I'd slow the track down to half speed, and then I would play these dunk 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 dunk, and then put it to regular speed, and it was like
Wow, that's cool.
oh, that's what Lindsey Buckingham did on a lot of it. He liked to
Oh,
do
I
that.
love his stuff. I
Slow
love his
slow the
stuff.
tape, turn the tape backwards, and
Uh-huh.
I out of desperation. Sometimes that's good because you don't sound like anybody else. So that's what I did. I became uh, I became the I would do lead vocal, 3-part harmony. It's exactly the template I used for Three Dog Night. Lead singer, three background singers. All of them. I did all the parts, and then they would they'd either buy songs from out of local hits from around the country, and they'd use one of my songs. They'd have a band on like a local TV Friday night rock and roll show, with a DJ, and they would find a band, and they would whatever name I came up with, then the band would lip sync to my record. The Bats. I remember the group called the Bats that I came up with. Uh, uh, and that's what happened. And then I did this one song, and after I did it, I think it was, I did a couple of demos, and then I did the final version. And they said, "Okay, we're going to release this as a single, and you're going to be the artist."
Roses and
And
Rainbow.
Roses and Rainbows. I said, "What? What do you mean? We'd go out in front of people and sing?" He said, "Yeah." So then they made a floppy disk. Actually, I had a floppy disk in Billboard.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. They went all out, and then they drew me in. I was on the Flintstones with
Yeah.
yeah, and that was all part of the package. And then they booked me on a Sonny and Cher tour. First show we did. Oh, and Vox
Amps.
sponsored me. I had the Vox guitar like Brian Jones, a beautiful guitar. Uh, Went out, so I'm ready to go on stage, and it's 5,000 people. I'd never really sung in front of anybody, and it's like I'm either going to go out and faint, and I get out and I faked it. Okay, I did it. So, and then later on, an hour or two later, I came back, and after Sunny Sharon, my guitar was gone, stolen. First night,
Wow.
I knew nothing of, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So
Uh-huh.
that was my introduction
Wow.
to
So
rock and roll.
what do you feel the best musical moment from the Smile sessions is?
No, I wasn't at all those sessions. I I can't. I mean, little things that seem like nothing. I remember we took the break on God Only Knows, and there was an upright piano in the hallway right there, and he went, Danny, and I just wrote this. Wouldn't it be nice? Da, 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 da. And he, I'm hearing this incredible song he's doing in the studio, and he just plays me. Wouldn't it be nice? I would. So that just kind of sticks in
Yeah.
my head out of nowhere, those kind of moments like that.
Mhm. How did the formation of Redwood come about?
You mean how did the three of us?
Yes,
Well,
you
that's
four.
a whole long, that's a
Okay,
long story.
okay. Well,
The naming of Redwood as we got there, and he would say, he told me, I guess it was a rehashed song, but he said, Danny, I wrote this song for you called Darlin'. But I think it was another song, but he said, because you said,
it was.
okay, but he said, because you say darling all the time. And I went, oh, fine. So then when we did it, he played piano on it. And then he got the bass player from Motown to come in, not Jamerson, but another cat,
Okay.
and then a horn section. And I think the piano was a little out of tune. The track, the key was just weird. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't out of tune to itself. So we put on a guide vocal, and uh, then the Beach Boys came back from tour, and everybody has their different stories about what happened. I don't, the thing everybody's, and I guess it's about memory. Uh, I know I'm looking at people, and I know they're not lying in their head. They absolutely believe it. And sometimes I'll look and go, "That's not at all what happened." They're not. And it was one of those things. But for me, it was Mike. Mike Love was the. I don't know what he said in the side to Brian, but if I was Mike Love, I would have absolutely done exactly what Mike Love did. They came back from tour, and they're hearing this hit song going, who are these guys? What? That's a hit song. Well, yeah, and they went in the other room and came out, and then Brian the day or later said, "Look, I can't do the thing with you because of the Beachfoot." Some of the other people have got off all, oh man, he did that. I would have done it. I would have done the same thing. And if he hadn't done it, Three Dog Night might never have. We might have been a boutique thing on Brian's album, where
Oh yeah,
he'd
yeah.
come in and we'd all be doing just Brian songs, and that's exactly what we didn't. We didn't do. We went completely a different way. So I think it all ended up being fine. But in that case, I understand he was right.
Well, yeah, and historically, by that time, Mike was still trying to get his credits restored to the records that Murray
Oh,
actually left him off. So in Mike's mind, a song that he and
another song. God, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, because the song that the Darlin' was originally called "Thinking About You, Baby" by Sharon Marie that Mike and Brian had written.
Oh, they wrote it together.
Yes,
See, now that's even more so. Well,
right.
I
So
would have come
he's
back with steam coming out of my head going, what do you, wait a minute. Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
had no idea.
yeah. Um, and then "Time to Get Alone," which came out on a box set years later. But that I love Redwood's version of that.
Uh,
What
I
do you?
think we did the first version of that one. I think,
Yes, you did.
maybe not.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what Brian wanted was he wanted to get a little with us. He could get a little bit of a bluesier funk thing.
Hmm.
He had the four freshmen kind of barbershop. I don't mean that in a good. I mean in a good sense. He had that bell. But they really didn't have anybody that could really, whoa, that kind of thing. And that's what I think he wanted. It would have been good for him, but in the long run, I think the best thing that could have happened was what did happen.
Been I guess through the years, rumors. You know how rumors are. But did Redwood ever record a demo of "Aren't You Glad"?
No.
Okay. And in '94, you sang with Brian on "Hold Back Time" for Orange Crate Art. What do you remember
Oh
about?
yes. So do my sons actually on that album.
Oh,
I'm on a I think I've been on about three of his Van Dyke's albums. At least three. The Broadway one, the Jump,
oh
the
yeah,
Rabbit.
yeah.
Yeah, I did. I like that. I like that song. Uh, yeah, I've been on about on almost three or four of his albums.
I ended up watching a video on YouTube for the Wild Honey event in '95, where it's you next to Brian at the piano,
Oh,
and he starts off by playing Ding Dang, and you kind of roll your eyes, and then the two of you together do All
I
I Have
do
to Do Is
the
Dream.
the Everly Brothers thing. Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was.
I'm not happy with that performance, but I mean, I was like, oh, what do we do? The key is all, not my key and stuff, uh, no, just being there was great. You
And
know,
in 2000, tell me if this is accurate. In 2006, you cut vocals with Brian for several cover tunes, including Rave On and Palisades Park, for a project tentatively titled Pleasure Island.
we did that across from the Beverly, the Grove is the keyboard player, I guess, and the honey, what do you call it? Good looking young guy, the keyboard player in not the honeycomb. I mean, his group, the Wonderments.
Oh, Darian Sahanaja?
Yeah, I don't. That's the guy I'm
Darian?
thinking of. We went to his apartment and
Okay.
we
Scott Bennett, maybe?
again, huh?
Scott
Scott,
Bennett?
that's yeah,
Okay.
didn't he? Uh anyway, we got there, no rehearsal, no anything, and he's got the song and it's the wrong key again, and it's like it's just not, you know. But I'd love working with him. Yeah, yeah. I remember Rave On. Uh, uh, what was the other one?
Palisades Park.
Yeah, I guess God, I guess I did that too. They're, yeah,
Other
okay.
than Catherine, are there any other recordings that you recall that you worked on that I've not mentioned that people would not know about?
Well, I have tapes of not recording, but the other guy who taped. Uh, I, we came back from a show and I didn't know, and it was with Steve Barnett. I don't know if you know Steve Barnett.
I,
And he was our young agent at the time, an English guy, and he became the manager for ACDC for a while, the president of Capitol Records. He did all sorts of stuff. I remember we were just sitting there at his house, and we were just talking. He was kind of saying he didn't know what he wanted to do and stuff. And we just had a big, long, long, long talk. I mean, if I said one thing, it might be out of context. You wouldn't understand. I mean, nothing bad, but I heard this recording, or someone told me about somebody, because he loved uh, Gershwin.
mhm.
That was da 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 da. That was that to me, to this day. That to me is an incredible thing. So then I heard that somebody had a tape of him where you could play the piano of him actually. I said, you could actually play with Gershwin. I mean, it's him on the piano, like a tape reel.
Okay.
Maybe you should get an orchestra together and do something. So we had a nice friendly talk. But
Uh,
I do have stuff like that.
okay. Um, in 1982,
Oh
Good
boy.
Night recorded and performed "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree" for the
Oh yeah.
Mighty
Oh,
Dean
Mike, for
Christmas
Mike
Fest.
Love.
Yes, for
Yeah.
the Scrooge's Rock and Roll Christmas.
Uh-huh. Mike just phoned us and said you want to do it. And, yeah. So we
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, up in the mountains, and we went up there and did it. Mike, I love Mike because I remember he had him for a while. Were they doing three concerts a day or two? I remember
At least
they
two.
were doing at least two. I
Yeah,
think they were at least doing two, where they're one state and then that evening in another state. They were like, man, they were out there working.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty crazy. That's when they did Mike and Dean for a while, too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, yeah, during that project, that Christmas special, that's Mike
Oh,
and
okay.
Dean were working together. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they had a bunch of they had a deal with Radio Shack, and they were putting releases out through Radio Shack. Um, so okay. Um, you are one of Brian's closest friends, and how has that friendship endured for so long?
It's endured over everything. He's, I think you know what I'm saying. If you have a really good friend and you haven't talked to him for 5 years, even when you see them, you all just locks. If they're a real friend, you just block right back in,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's with them. And there's so many people that were so many different gatekeepers, and sometimes it can be good. A good protector for somebody is good, but a lot of gatekeepers are there for the power, and there's somebody's in the way, and like Landy, all these kind of people. So uh, Brian and I are I was up to see him, I guess a month ago. Gloria is, I get along great with the housekeeper
From what I
lady.
understand, she's a superstar.
Yeah, yeah. And she's looking so good, modern. I saw her and I went, oh my God, she's like hip. And so we talked. And the only thing that I couldn't understand it when I got there into Brian, he's in the living room and he's looking really good. And we talk, he's first thing he says is, Danny, sing for me. And I'm saying, what, what? Sing going in circles. So that was the movie with Liz Taylor in it, XYZ movie, it was called. And the lyrics are going in circles, don't really know where I've come from or where I will go. If you say you love me, baby, you do. There's nothing to hope for, nothing to do. And I went, oh my God. And I went, well, what? Maybe around piano. He says, I don't have a piano. And I was, what do you mean? Because when I saw him, he'd always just walk over to the piano, sit down,
Yeah,
just put
yeah.
hands, and then he'd be comfortable. And then I said, "We're in the house." He says, "I don't have one in the house." Now I don't know if that was just I didn't. I said that can't really be true.
Mhm.
Uh, so anyway, but it was great seeing him. Uh, and he's so funny. Part of him knows what he knows. Everybody went, oh, you're conservator now, and he doesn't know. Brian, he was always good at that, fooling people. He'd do his old famous hold his head back and shut his eyes, and then if the news person at a certain point would go, well, okay, well, I guess I'll see you later. And then they leave and he'd look at, is he gone? So you never know.
Do you know Dave Nolan?
I'm refresh my memory.
Dave,
That
Dave
sounds
was
familiar.
one of Dave was one of the members of the Survivors, the song that Brian did called
You mean the hit song?
Pamela Jean. Do you remember that?
I know the song. I know a hit by them, but I don't remember
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
so Survivors was a one off. A guy named Rich Ilarian wrote some songs with Brian, and the trade off was Brian said, "I'll write some songs for you and get you a single released." And it was kind of a handshake buddy deal. It's when Brian lived on Crenshaw Boulevard in the early '60s with Bob Morberg.
oh, okay, this is way, yeah.
Yeah, so Bob and Dave moved in right next to them. So the survivors ended up being Brian, Bob, Rich Ilarian, and Dave Nolan. And yeah, it's just and so Bob is
Now,
still
who's singing on this?
Brian.
Oh, okay.
Brian and Dave do most of the singing. Yeah, so that's why a lot of people for many years thought that it was actually the Beach Boys under a different name.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
But they did. Brian turned it. He kept the melody and they turned it into Car Crazy Cutie for the Beach Boys.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's it's one of the few times Brian did doo wop. Like a Dion type of song
Uh-huh.
for the Beach Boys. And The first song he did with the Survivors was The Witch Stand, and they took it into Capitol, and Capitol said it sounds too much like the Beach Boys. So he was so pissed. He said he was so pissed off driving home with Dave in the car. Dave was telling me the story. So Brian was so angry that Capitol wouldn't take that single. So that's why he went home and did something that sounded like Dion, so that they couldn't say to him, "It sounds too much like the Beach Boys."
I get it.
So yeah, it's a pretty interesting. But Brian was so, as you know, Brian was so prolific as a songwriter and an arranger and a producer. And in those first 4 years, it's it's hard for me, even with all the knowledge I have about all the work that he did, it's still very difficult for me to understand how much he did. It's 12 albums in 4 years, in addition to producing other acts like Jan and Dean,
Yeah.
Cher Marie, all these other ancillary outside groups, and that's what he went back to with you and Redwood.
Yeah. He was on fire. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy